right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. How politicians are hurting the American people. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. The failure to pass a new health care proposal in the House has hurt the Republican Party and President Trump. Situation's confusing, but let me break it down so even the politicians can understand it. There are three basic things that America needs from a fair health care plan. First, a reasonable cost. Working people cannot be punished with high insurance premiums. Second, that the poor who cannot afford insurance are given access to health care in some way, Medicaid perhaps the best way. And third, that all Americans are protected from medical catastrophe. So if I'm a sitting Republican congressman on the Hill, how do I vote on a new proposal to replace Obamacare? Well, it's impossible to know if the proposed new law would lower costs for everyone. But if health insurance companies are eventually allowed to compete all across America, which they cannot do now, market forces would likely bring the costs down. Also, I'm evaluating the entire situation. What good does it do my party, the Republican Party, and the president if I oppose the first proposal the House puts forth, knowing that proposal will be changed in the Senate and come back to me for another vote? Seems logical that you move the process along and then at the end, when the entire bill is before you, you vote your conscience. But by throwing the whole thing out for ideological reasons, nothing is accomplished other than the Republicans looking bad. Now, this analysis is not based on any party sentiment by me. I am an independent. It's all about you, what's best for the folks. It's a given that Democrats are not going to turn on Obamacare. They support it to the bitter end. Yes, they may tweak it a little, but they want a giant entitlement from the feds that costs a fortune and hurts working Americans by making them pay higher premiums. So if the Republican Party doesn't unite, Obamacare stays the way it is, which is the situation right now. The big reveal here is that the conservative Republicans who voted against the new health proposal will not compromise.
There's some members of the Freedom Caucus, they'd vote no against the Ten Commandments if it came up for a vote. And so I think it's time that the Freedom Caucus work together with other members of the Republican Party.
Now, Mr. Poe has left the Freedom Caucus frustrated about the health care vote. The bigger picture is this. President Trump did get hurt by the health care vote, but it's not a catastrophe. All presidents lose on major issues. President Obama wanted to close Guantanamo Bay. Never got it done. He wanted much more social justice spending. Never happened. Making new laws very tough, as it should be. The Trump administration would be wise to move along now and try to get a new tax code. That issue should unite all Republicans who believe the free marketplace is the way to provide prosperity for the majority of Americans. If some Republicans oppose lower taxes, that will be stunning. But the president needs to move quickly. The tax reduction plan should become clear by early May. We need new tax rates for both workers and corporations, and we need to phase out deductions that only benefit the very wealthy. That doesn't seem to be too much to ask Congress to do. And that's a memo. Now for the top story reaction. Joining us from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. Where am I going wrong here, Charles?
Well, amazingly, I can't see any major mistakes here, but I do think you're sort of underestimating the damage done to Trump by the spectacular implosion of this proposal. It doesn't really compare to Guantanamo for Obama. Who cares about Guantanamo? That was a peripheral issue. Or about social spending. They spent a lot. $1 billion in the stimulus. $1 trillion stimulus is quite a lot. This is a major proposal and a 7-year promise by Republicans. It's not only the president who got hurt, it's the party.
But I don't think the president is going to be blamed for this. That's my opinion as a very astute analyst.
Look,
I don't think wait.
It's
I
not
think
a
the
question
folks
of
out there
blame.
are going, hey, Trump screwed this up. They're going, Congress screwed it up. And both parties did, because the Democrats won't give anything. And the Republicans, as we mentioned, some of them are just too ideological. But let's get on to nuts and bolts. Was I right in saying that the bill was going to come back to the House for a vote after it was massaged in the Senate? So that if you had a problem with it, you say, okay, now I'm going to do it, but you better fix this because you're getting another shot, right?
Look, I'm with you on the fact that if you were a Republican in the House, you promised this for 7 years. You had a bill that the Freedom Caucus was able to move to the right and correctly strip out a lot of the regulation that was unnecessary and harmful in Obamacare. You accomplished all that. At that point, you vote yes, you're correct. You toss it into the Senate, and then it comes back.
Okay.
But
So why didn't they being the Freedom Caucus, conservative congresspeople, why didn't they do what you and I believe is the logical thing to do?
Well, I would like to say to you what I always say when you ask me the why question. What do you think I am, a psychiatrist? They made a mistake. Look, they believe that they had promised to destroy, undo, eradicate Obamacare and all of the implications, government control, government regulation, government mandates. And they wanted to do it in the original bill coming out of the House. I think it was a huge tactical mistake. In fact, I think the whole idea, which is that Paul Ryan had decided he wanted to get a bill through the House that would be able to go through the Senate and pass with 51 votes. So he had to go within the restraints of what's called reconciliation, which is why he could not include in the bill the things that the Freedom Caucus had wanted, being able to buy insurance across state lines, tort reform, and stripping out
he was going to do that later.
The regulations.
Right.
The point is, why not put it in the House bill? And this is what I would recommend to the Republicans when this comes back, as it will, probably in the fall or the winter, when Obamacare begins to implode. At that point, put everything in the House bill.
Yeah, and let the Democrats take the rap when it
That's
blows.
exactly right.
But it
There's
still
no
doesn't
other
hurt.
way.
It doesn't help the folks. They're still going to pay for the next 6 to 9 months more health insurance premiums, higher premiums. So yes, the chess game goes on at Congress, and who gets hurt? The regular folks. Charles Krauthammer, everybody. Next on